G'day everybody and welcome to week 17 of Susie's Selections, brought to you by Sinclair Wilson.
Are you getting everything you deserve? At Sinclair Wilson, we can answer all of your financial questions, optimize your tax position, and develop long-term strategies which will be very much to your advantage. Sinclair Wilson, for strength in numbers.
So last week didn't go quite as well as I would have hoped with my tipping, but I have a pretty good feeling about this week. Like I said, it's week 17, that's my favourite number. Shannon Burns used to wear it for Geelong and my favourite Body Jar song is 17 years. So hopefully it's an omen that this will be a week of 9 coming up for me. And to start things off, we have Carlton versus Hawthorn at Etihad Stadium on Friday night. Not much to say about this game, it should be the Hawks very easily. And then on Saturday we have Greater Western Sydney versus Geelong at Star Track Oval up in Canberra. Now, a more sensible person than me would probably be tipping the Giants here. But I think we've already established the fact that I'm not very sensible and I'm going to be sticking with the Cats to get the win. And then we have Adelaide versus Gold Coast Suns at Adelaide Oval. Probably should have tipped the Crows last week. It was a close game in the end, but they were looking pretty darn good. So I'm tipping them to make it 2 in a row with the win over the Suns. And then we have Richmond versus Fremantle at the MCG. This is actually a bit of a tough one to tip. Obviously Freo is top of the ladder, but Richmond beat them last time when they played over at Subiaco. So I'm tipping them to get the win again, especially as a home team. It should be the Tigers. And then we have Essendon versus Port Adelaide at Etihad Stadium. Port Adelaide brought back one of their trademark finishes to a match last week, and hopefully it's a sign that they may just pick up in this last bit of the season. I think they should carry that form into this week and should get the win over Essendon. And then we have Brisbane Lions versus North Melbourne up at the Gabba. The Lions have done pretty well at home so far this year, but North Melbourne's really gunning for a spot in the top 8 and they can't afford to let this one slip, so I'm tipping them to have a pretty good win. And then on Sunday we have Western Bulldogs versus Collingwood at Etihad Stadium. The Dogs have been a little bit patchy of late, but Collingwood is in a rut. They've lost their past 4 games and will be without Travis Cloke this weekend, so I'm tipping the Doggies to get the win. Now it's Melbourne versus St Kilda at the MCG after that. It's just percentage separating these two sides on the ladder, but given it's the Demons with the winning form, or they won last week at least, I'm tipping them to beat the Saints here, but I expect it to be a pretty close one. And then to finish things off for the twilight game on Sunday, we have West Coast Eagles versus Sydney over at Subiaco. Okay, I'm sold on the Eagles now. They are a pretty darn good side and they could be top of the ladder by the end of this round if a few results go their way. Namely, they need to beat the Swans. So I'm tipping them to get the win. Should be a good one. Sydney, it depends which side turns up. Across to the Hampton League now, and to start things off we have Portland versus Warrnambool at Hanlon Reserve. The Blues are sitting nicely on top of the ladder at the moment and I'm tipping them to get another comfortable win over the Tigers. And then it's Cobden versus Terang Mortlake at Cobden Recreation Reserve. The Bloods bounced back with a really good win last week and I'm tipping them to make it 2 in a row as they look to shore up their spot in the top 5. And then it's South Warrnambool versus North Warrnambool Eagles at Friendly Societies Park. North Warrnambool is currently sitting in 3rd spot on the ladder. They have a 1-game break over Port Fairy. I'm tipping them to get their good win and maintain that break. And then it's Corate versus Port Fairy at Victoria Park. It'll be another good test for the Seagulls to see where they're at against one of the top teams in the competition, but it's impossible to go past the reigning premiers at home. And finally we have Hamilton Kangaroos versus Camperdown at Melville Oval. Speaking of snapping losing streaks, Camperdown finally got their first win in 8 weeks last weekend, beating Portland. I'm tipping them to make it 2 in a row as they look to keep their finals hopes alive. And that's it for another week everybody, thank you very much for tuning in, happy tipping.